my birth mum, she drank alcohol when she was pregnant with me, which she shouldn't have done.
I don't think women understand totally that when you drink when you're pregnant, this is what you risk. Because these people have the disability forever, but so do you.
We found that fetal alcohol is it's a bit of a taboo subject. Not a lot of people like to talk about it.
I love my daughters and my grandchildren, but I can't fix them now. Mums that want to fix things, well, this is one nana that can't fix it.
Jayden Saunders is 7. He's surrounded by a loving family, parents, 2 sisters and a grandmother. He's growing up in a rural paradise. Yet none of these things can undo the damage that was done to him as an unborn child. Jayden will always live with the effects of fetal alcohol syndrome. It's a lifelong disability. Jayden's birth mother was an alcoholic with a long history of drug use and mental illness. The alcohol she drank during pregnancy damaged his brain development. The moment he was born, he was put into state care. The Saunders family knew right from the start that the little boy up for adoption was affected by fetal alcohol spectrum disorder.
I was nervous because we'd been told that he was going to be quite severely handicapped, so I was a little bit nervous. I didn't go in to see him to start with. Michael went in first, and he said, you know, he looks normal and he looks healthy and he looks happy. And so I went in to have a look and I picked him up and held him, and he looked straight at me, and that got me right from the moment. So I said to Michael, you know, this is what we need to do. He needs a good home.
As a newborn, Jayden was given an APGAR test, a measure of his physical responses. The news was bleak.
You know, I can remember being in the hospital when he did his first APGAR test, I think it was, and you know, I can just remember the nurse's face that did it, and you know, she was crestfallen at you know, just really what limited opportunity she thought he was going to have. And at that time, you know, driving home, we both said, look, we're going to do our best to make him as functioning member of society as we can. You know, we're a great believer in nurture, and you just have to stick at it.
On any given day, he's a buzz, constantly moving.
And now I'm done.
Typical boy behaviour, some might say. But the hyperactivity is a symptom of the alcohol damage.
Guess who has to clean it up?
Give this up.
Her.
Please.
Okay, that's not careful.
That helps.
We have been told by a lot of people that it's just a boy thing. It's very difficult to explain to someone that it's not. He is very hyperactive when he's not on his medication. He actually shakes and buzzes. You can actually feel him buzzing.
Can I have some Play-Doh, Jayden? No.
Fine.
Oh, come on, Jayden. Can I play with something?
Why don't you give Megan some of the scraps?
Wait, I know what. I'm gonna make it game. That one.
Oh, good guess.
Oh, I guess.
Good job.
It's a very slow process playing with Jayden. You've really got to negotiate and take it slowly, and you know, think about what you're doing and how it's going to make him react.
You got to be careful, buddy. They're only little.
Bong. I am the king of the.
If he's feeling frustrated or agitated, I ask him how he's feeling, and he'll often say he feels like a stormy sea. But we've had to encourage him to learn how he's feeling so he can articulate it to people around him so that we can understand him as well.
This is no spot pot. This is Jonah. And this little meowy fairy is called Meow Pot. Come here all over.
Fetal alcohol spectrum disorder affects part of the brain that controls decision-making and working out the consequences of actions.
Right, honey, it's going to be lunchtime in a minute and I need you to wash your hands. Can you go and do that, please? In the big bathroom.
Kids with fetal alcohol effect are often first diagnosed with ADHD or labelled hyperactive. But that's just part of the picture.
Good job. You can go and put your magnet on your hand washing chart now.
I know, and now you're watching me. Do it. There's someone here.
Each child is affected differently.
Good job. Okay, so there's your crackers. Do you want a little bit of tuna?
No.
No?
Food's always been an issue for Jayden. Even now, he still doesn't have the appetite of a normal child.
Can you have your milkshake here, honey?
He's greater.
That's about all he's going to have today. He likes crunchy textures. He doesn't eat anything that's too soft or mushy. So mostly his diet consists of crackers and biscuits. He's got a lolly. He's got a very good sweet tooth, haven't you? Mm-hmm. So to supplement his food, we have the Paediatric milkshakes, which help him with the nutrients that he's missing out on. He won't eat any meat at all, not even a sausage. Don't forget your milkshake. Have some milkshake as well. We were told that stimulating his brain was a very big part of his development, and if we could do that early on, then, you know, we had a good chance of growing his brain a bit more. Okay, sit down.
Those first few years were just stimulation.
I'm making the thingy-me-thingy.
You know, we just spent hours just doing stuff just to get that brain working, and just to reform as many of those bonds as we could. I guess the biggest thing is his impulsiveness, or his just ability not to be able to regulate, or not to be able to see the consequences of his actions. I think that's the biggest thing.
They're definitely getting better. I think a lot of it is that we're learning to deal with them better as well. We've had instances where he's just banged his head for over an hour. I've had to put helmets on him so that he wouldn't damage his head anymore. He would try and hurt himself any way he could. We had to take everything out of his room when he was younger because he would just use anything he could. He would break things in order to be able to use them to hurt himself. We've had an instance where he got frustrated with one of his sisters, and he just went into the cutlery drawer and grabbed a knife and threw it at her. So we've had to get rid of all that sort of thing. We've had moments where we've actually had to hold him very tightly for over an hour so that he doesn't hurt himself, because if he gets away from us, he will either run and hide and we won't find him, or he will hurt himself a lot. He's had concussion a few times from just banging his head on the walls. He's even put dents in the walls by punching them. So yeah, we've had a lot of issues with self-harming and hurting other people. But you know, when he's calmed down, he understands what he's done wrong. He just doesn't understand it in the moment. It's like he's a different person in that moment.
The Saunders have enrolled Jayden in a small private school. At first they got some funding for teacher aides, but that was limited to 1 year. Now they pay for one themselves.
Do you remember how to feed them?
I don't.
Flat. Otherwise, look at your fingers. Whoops.
He doesn't sit still at all very well. We probably get, in a classroom environment, they can get him to sit still to begin with for maybe 2 minutes. He would disrupt the class immensely, which would set the other kids off. It was difficult the first year he was there because he would run away from school all the time, and as a teacher they can't really leave the classroom to run after one kid, so I would stay at the school for the first 6 months that he was at school. So I sat in the playground a lot. And when he ran away, I would have to come and take him back to look after him and sit with him and calm him down and stuff.
Okay, I'm gone.
The major difference is not being able to teach him something that you know he's not going to do it again.
Jaden, come here, buddy.
Come back.
You're just constantly reiterating the same thing time after time. Don't touch the stove, don't touch the stove, don't touch the stove.
Jaden!
The condition of his brain is that he just doesn't, it doesn't stick.
Valeire McGinn is a neuropsychologist and one of a handful of people specialising in the diagnosis and treatment of fetal alcohol effects. No one collects stats on how many children are born affected by it, and few doctors are trained to recognise or treat the condition.
I mean, it is a disability, it is a medical condition, it is in the brain. It's only recognised in terms of being able to access disability services in New Zealand if the child's IQ is 70 or below. And we know that alcohol exposure prenatally knocks IQ back about 10 to 20 points. So that means to actually come down into the retarded range, you know, a big number of children do, and therefore they can access disability services that may or may not be suitable for their condition. But we have, you know, a huge number of children who have higher IQs, have equal degrees of brain damage, but who are not eligible to receive any disability services. And, you know, until something's done about recognising it as the disability that it is, those children are really slipping through the cracks.
When Katherine Law was born 34 years ago, few people had even heard of fetal alcohol syndrome. It was 16 years before she was eventually diagnosed. She has no contact with her birth mother.
I don't know much about her or anything to do with her because I was actually adopted out and I had to be taken away from her.
2 years ago, Katherine finally left home.
So you guys are going to have a look at what you're going to eat for dinner tonight?
Yes.
Now she's in residential care with flatmates and live-in caregivers. She's never held down a job. She's happy here, but places like this are few and far between.
And what kind of meal are you looking for?
What about ravioli?
Ravioli?
Yeah.
That sounds good, yeah.
Making friends and keeping them has been one of her challenges.
We need to see what... So we need to add ravioli and the carbonara sauce to the shopping list. And people didn't really want to be my friend. I never understood why, because I liked the same things, like had the same interests or something. I was just as, well, I thought I was just as fun to be around as them, but maybe it's because I'm short or I don't know why they didn't choose to be my friend. And if I tried to join in a conversation with them just to be friendly and to fit in, they'd always just give me horrible looks, make smart, mean comments saying, why are you talking to us or being near us, or you're a loser, we don't want anything to do with you, we don't like you, and stuff like that, and it was really hurtful.
Once a month, she stays with her parents for the weekend. Katherine was the third child to be adopted by Bill and Pauline Law.
Hi, Mum. I'm home. Lovely to see you again. Oh, you had a good week?
You think
Good. Hungry?
you saying?
Come on, let's go and get some lunch then.
Okay.
They already had 3 sons of their own. When it came to their 6th child, Pauline knew there was definitely something different about Katherine.
Hi, lunch. Shall I make you a sandwich?
Yes, please.
Okay, you can see what cake there is in there. All right. The teacher would say, we're going to go to the hall now and you need to bring your bag and you need to bring your recorder or whatever. And Katherine would only remember the last little bit and would stand there not knowing what to do. And of course she'd get shouted at, haven't we told you? And so they provided a buddy system, and she would, another little girl would take her. But a couple of times she walked home and she'd turn up at home, and this little 5- and 6-year-old, you'd think, what's she doing here? And then I'd have to ring the school, or they'd be looking for her because she didn't understand all the instructions and would just come home. I've done some baking.
Yum.
They were the early years where she was slow. That's pretty good. And delayed development, that was... But as time went on, and as she started to get older, she became slow, delayed development, and naughty, because other people believe that she should have achieved these milestones, that when she's told to do something, she'll do it. But with Katherine, it doesn't work like that. You have to tell her 100 times, patiently, and not get angry.
So you brought any washing home?
No, I washed it all yesterday.
That's good to hear.
Now that Katherine is living in her own flat, her visits home are happy for everyone. But the past is still a painful memory.
My behaviour wasn't so good when I was younger, but a lot of that is mistreatment towards me. I think it could be to do with my disability as well. But I think a lot of it is just all the hard times I've been to and had to deal with it on my own. Didn't have much support or people to turn to or talk to, and just got a bit much for me, and I didn't know how to deal with my feelings. And when I felt threatened by people, sometimes I'd fight back, and I'm not proud of myself for that. I'm quite ashamed, but I never did anything too bad to anyone.
Katherine showed the frustration she was feeling in massive tantrums, 2 or 3 times a week. Too much stimulation in public places added to the mix.
So if they don't have your usual kind of ravioli,
We'll just have to get a different one.
Shopping trips were hell.
Things like, we're on holiday once, and I said she could have $100 pocket money for the week. Training her, she wanted an ice cream, she had to buy it. We were in the bank and she wanted more money. I said, no, you can't have more money. Next thing, she threw a tantrum saying, you're stealing my money in a bank? And of course, here's the tellers looking at us, other people looking at us, and you try to push her out the bank to think, oh, just get away from here. And she's screaming and yelling, and everybody's looking round, and you're thinking, just let's go home.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I used to think that only shouting or I'd get heard and swearing and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't do that so much now. Thank you.
Fortunately, my neighbours and friends knew we had a child with delayed development, so they understood. But when you're outside and you get people looking at you thinking, oh, a terrible mother, she can't control a child, you do begin to find it really wearing. And there were times when I did begin to wonder how long we could keep Katherine in our family, because it was hard work.
This is my room. Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely.
Thank you.
Very neat and tidy.
Yeah, I keep it tidy every day.
During her teens, Katherine's trusting nature led her to become involved with a known paedophile.
Some of my dolls that I'm collecting. This is Hermione from Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah, it is too.
The police intervened
Cute.
and contacted her parents. Katherine had a lucky escape.
All different sizes.
All these drawers are full of them. I put tissues on just to keep them in better condition.
Through all this, getting help was Pauline's biggest nightmare.
There didn't seem to be a recognition that there was something really seriously wrong with this child. Their interpretation was, there's something seriously wrong in this family and with these parents. And it's very hard when you come under scrutiny for what you do.
There's a lot of pressure on parents, you know, to kind of use consequences to make their children better behaved, and we know that consequences are not effective with children with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. They tend not to learn through their mistakes. They will repeat the same mistake over and over. They need situations altered so that they're not led into making those mistakes. And so sometimes parents are accused of giving their child too much help and not making them independent. But in fact, a child with an FASD disability needs a lot of help, and they need to be treated younger and allowed to grow up at their own rate. And, often people looking in don't understand why parents seem to be over-coddling these children. But in fact, there are appropriate ways of managing them. And it is quite intensive, hard work for parents.
Shirley Winikerei adopted 2 daughters 35 years ago. It took 15 years before her youngest daughter Niwa was given a diagnosis of fetal alcohol spectrum disorder.
His mum Niwa, Ropi Hana, he's about, just under a year I think, Kahurangi, and my other 2 grandchildren.
30 years ago, the disorder was almost unknown. So Niwa's tantrums and defiance were unexplained. She'd only been at intermediate school a month, and they were ready to expel her. There was no help from social workers.
Nothing. We were just classed as bad parents. And the school counsellor said to the Fraser, please don't expel her. This is what she wants to be on the streets. Now she's on a downhill spiral. She's on a path to self-destruction, and there's nothing you can do about it except pick up her and the baby off the streets. And sure enough, by that stage I was starting to learn about fetal alcohol because when she was suspended from Fraser High, she went to the Youth Resource Centre. It was for naughty kids, and the counsellor there said, I think I know what's wrong with her.
By then, Niwa had started drinking as well. She had her first child at the age of 14. Since then, there have been 9 more children.
This is 3 of her 10. So they range from 19 down to 4 months. And they range from Whangarei, Central North Island, and as far as Wellington. They're all in foster care.
Determined to do something, Shirley has become an advocate for parents raising children with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. Her garage is headquarters for lobbying government and supporting families. She's in touch with dozens of families across the country. Most have fostered or adopted children, sometimes unaware that the reason they are in care is so closely linked to the mother's drinking. Shirley has seen firsthand how the damage done to the child is repeated through the generations. Her own daughter at first kept the child she gave birth to at 14.
Sif supported Niwa for 2 years with Kaurangi, and they got on the birth control. And she was in a home in Rotorua for teenage mothers. But unfortunately, Niwa would disappear, and by the time I found her, 7 weeks later, Kaurangi was suffering malnutrition. And that home was there to supervise, and they'd tell Niwa, feed the baby. They'd give her the food, but she'd wander off somewhere else. So Sifs took the baby off her then. So after 2 years of toing and froing between Tokoroa and me, 4 times I took her and 4 times Sifs made me give her back, even that Niwa was a shocking mother. Roaming around at night, 12 o'clock at night with Kaurangi thrown over her shoulder. And didn't change her napping, fed her leftover fish and chips and Coca-Cola for breakfast. So on the 5th time, I can't stand this, so I took her in.
Shirley raised her granddaughter, who is now 20 years old. Powerless and exhausted, she has seen her other 9 grandchildren, aged 19 to 4 months, go into foster care. Some also diagnosed with fetal alcohol effects.
The snowball effect and the ripples that go out into society are huge, from this one factor.
Where are we going to go today?
Probably.
Mike and Paula Saunders are determined that Jayden will be given every opportunity to make the best of his talents.
Well, the biggest lesson that I've learnt in dealing with Jayden is that you have to be prepared to compromise. You know, you might have an idea in your head that you're going to go and do something, but on the way you have to be prepared to stop and smell the roses, and you actually might not get to do what you wanted to do, but you get to interact and have fun on the way.
Can you hear me?
And that's really the lesson is just be prepared to be flexible. Sometimes you'll spend a day and not get anything done because you spend a day playing and interacting with them and teaching them, and that's more valuable anyway. You know, I'd rather the fences are falling down than have them just you know, not learning. Okay. Right, you got it tight?
Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder is a lifelong disability. The best parenting in the world cannot change the brain damage caused by alcohol.
She is having a fuller life, but she'll never have her own life. And I just think this disability is totally preventable. But women don't believe it.
What could change is the way we support families raising these children. Right now, it's underdiagnosed, and there is almost no funding for services.
There's a lot of advice we've had that just doesn't work. So, you know, we just have to take what we think will work and fit it into what we do and just play it by ear and see how it goes when we're going.